Greetings and salutations. It's a Friday morning here on the morning show on the SDH Network. John here, Nico there, sporting the gear. He knows what's going on. Since I couldn't quite get him to pilot the plane or have him hold the plane in Charlotte, we're catching up with him about the Copa and everything that went down there. You're back home, my friend. So how was the trip?
Man, it was unreal. First of all, Charlotte's a beautiful city. I was close to you guys, HDH family, close, but yet so far. But I felt some of that southern warmth, that charm. Everybody was fantastic. Food was unreal. The atmosphere at the stadium was incredible. Just the whole thing was not cheap, but it was worth every single penny. I mean, we'll get into more of the particulars here in a little bit, but city-wise, flight-wise, I love Charlotte, man. I mean, I was asking people what they were paying in terms of houses over there, because I mean, it was that nice, man. It was really a beautiful experience. Especially, I did it with my oldest son. It was kind of me and him. So, man, it was fantastic.
Do I even want to know how on fire your credit card is after this particular trip? Do I need to know?
I mean, it's up there. Not a lot on the credit card because I'm very careful with my credit card. So I just pulled out some savings. I am still doing a Vegas trip here in October, but I took all my juice box money and put it towards, I guess, a better investment, a memory and experience. So yeah, definitely my credit card, not too much, but my pocket is burning. I mean, it was expensive. I got to tell you, I paid more for the tickets to get in than I did for me and my son's airfare. So it was expensive for sure.
No doubt about it. Get-in price for the final on the weekend. Get-in price in Miami listed on Thursday at $2,200. Get-in price, one ticket, $2,200. And the price for tickets in general, the further down you go, I was seeing $5,000 for tickets close to the action at Hard Rock. And then suites were going for six figures. Welcome to Copa America, United States, eh?
Yeah, man, it was expensive. And I knew it was now or never. I mean, I kind of killed two birds with one stone as well. I had some going on with my brother down there in Charlotte, so I was able to do that. And I, like I said, I don't want to scare nobody. I don't want to do anything, but it was 500 plus per ticket to get in. So I knew it was now or never. I mean, for the final, because I looked at the tickets, because I believed in Colombia. I did. And I was like, maybe I'll just buy a final ticket, but they were at $1,300 when I checked. So for me and my son, that gets expensive. Plus fare to get to Miami, plus lodging. So it gets tough.
This was the United States for this particular generation. It was their awakening to Copa America. And I think that if they hadn't been watching the tournament, or if they've just been looking at updates, and you and me when we're talking, and Nino Torres when we're talking on a daily basis, it's like, okay, so I see what's going on. The U.S. get bumped out. I'll just kind of be a casual watcher. But I think that the match that you were at in Charlotte personified everything that the tournament is about. It was ramped up from the absolute beginning on the field. It was 90 minutes of slamming it into fifth gear with two teams that knew that they were trying to get to the finish line. I mean, it was nuts. And I told folks, I said, look, if you didn't watch this match, find a replay. Watch this match. It is the personification of what this tournament's all about.
Yeah, first let me start outside of the pitch, because the atmosphere was insane. I mean, it was 70,000 plus and might have been 60,000 Colombians, and it was tailgating. It was beautiful. Walking with your countryman. Uruguay fans were out there too. Maybe not as many, but just as loud. It was so just different. The vibe was just out there. Honestly, it was electric. The national anthem comes through. I got tears coming down my eyes. I mean, it was just emotional, and you saw it everywhere. I looked up, and I mean, it looked like a sea of red and blue and yellow. I mean, it was just amazing. I just was impressed with the amount of people that showed up, the atmosphere. It was just incredible. And when it came to the game, you're right. I mean, I thought it was a fantastic game. First 45 minutes, I think, is back and forth. Nunes gets quite a few opportunities. Mm-hmm. Colombia's playing very open. They're trying to get their fullbacks forward the way they always do. Mojica on one side, who Mojica had a fantastic game. Munoz, who unfortunately got that red card there in 45 minutes, but the first half was just back and forth, very good. I thought that Bielsa planned it perfectly to eliminate the two key components, the epicenter of all Colombian attacks in James Rodriguez and Luis Diaz. I mean, he was fantastic. It was reference defense. It was chasing him down, not letting him get on the ball at all. Betancourt, who we'll talk about that because I think his injury was pretty big in terms of not being able to hold Colombia as much as well. But I just thought they played well. Bielsa did realize that when he started this game with three in the back, that's not the way he wanted to play it because some of his best attackers were a little bit too wide and he wasn't getting enough down the middle. So he ended up switching to a 4-man in the back. But that's just Bielsa, man. I mean, for you to realize that quickly. So it was a beautiful game for the first 45 minutes. Then Munoz, look, don't let this head fool you. I'm very objective when it comes to these sort of things. Mistake on Munoz's part. He's been so good, probably one of the best, more influential players in Colombia. As a matter of fact, the fact that he's not going to be in the final is almost unfair. It's almost a sin because he's put his heart and soul into this team. He's been so good, and now he misses the final because of a bad moment, a bad impulse. He was baited, but if you're baited and you're caught, then that's on you. He did get pinched. I don't know if you've seen that, but he gets really pinched and he reacts. You should not react. It's just part of those dark arts that are just something you got to be ready for when you play Uruguay. He reacts, red card happens, and from there on out, it becomes a Colombian team that initially were playing in a 4-3-2, trying not to be too defensive, trying not to play too much of a deep block. But as people get gassed and James got gassed and Lucho got gassed, you ended up having to just bunker down. You take off Cordoba, you take off James, and now Nestor Lorenzo deserves a lot of credit, and I'm taking way too long, man, but I just gotta get out here. Nestor Lorenzo does a really good job at managing this thing, even if you don't like defensive soccer and you think, man, that's just not the way you play it. He knew what he was against. That's a quality Uruguayan team. And he just closed it down. He overpopulated the midfield. He made sure his down block was nice and solid. And he saved James from himself. James got a yellow for getting way too argumentative with the ref. That could have easily escalated, and all of a sudden you get a red. You don't have your best player or your most influential player for the final. So I just thought Nestor Lorenzo did a fantastic job at gambling, because it was a gamble, because he didn't just park the bus. He parked 3 cars and an RV, and he worked. And maybe if he hadn't worked, we'd be criticizing him today. But that gamble, that determination, everybody bought in. Colombia gets 2 really good chances in front of goal, despite being 10 players on the field, 1 player down. Uribe gets 2 in front of goal that he misses. And then Lerma with a wide open goal because the goalkeeper was on our end trying to make something happen, and then he just whiffs it. I don't know how it happens. It happened, but credit to Colombia. Hard-fought game. It was courageous. It was relentless at times. It was resilient. I just got to applaud what they did against a very good Uruguayan team.
You were there, and you were with Jason on Atlanta Soccer Tonight after the match. Your pictures are out there for anybody to see with what happened after the match up in the stands. We talked about it Thursday morning on the morning show, and I think on a couple of different fronts. I think it was a wake-up call for the United States as a soccer organization. I think it was also something that might have been a wake-up call, hopefully, for CONMEBOL, because of how you didn't have – and this was a point that was made on the morning show yesterday by one of our Twitch pitchers. In the Euros, say, as an example, you have your specific seating that is locked in for fans. Fans are going to be here. Fans are going to be here. This is where you are, and you all are on the other side. You had a mix, and it ended up being a very dangerous mix where you had family on one side behind the benches And in the next section over, you had fans of the other team, and it got ugly. And I know that you got to talk to Jason about all of this, but now that you've had time to kind of let it settle in, what are your thoughts about what happened after the match that I think was a rude awakening for hopefully a lot of folks?
Yeah, let me switch hats because I don't want anybody to think I'm playing with this.
Yeah.
I am very serious about this whole situation, and we got to break it all down. So, first of all, I think CONMEBOL is the biggest at fault here. They're the governing body and those that organize the logistics for this whole thing. I know that U.S. Soccer is involved, but CONMEBOL, as I'm told, they're the ones handling just about everything. Maybe 75% of what's going on, hotels, stadiums, everything's governed by CONMEBOL. They should know better. They should do better. This is not something out of the ordinary in South America, unfortunately. This happens in Copa Libertadores. This has happened in previous qualifier games. I believe it was Uruguay and Brazil at one point. So this has happened. There's a precedent for things. So first mistake is, like you said, not putting these family members elsewhere. I mean, it was the Panther Stadium, really, or
Yeah.
Charlotte FC Stadium, brand new stadium. There's suites, there's places to put these people away from the crowds. So that's number one. But the reality of it, and this is where I want to be very careful, is the fact that the altercation and the problems and how it all kind of spilled out was done by the people. I mean, it was done by the individuals involved in everything, right? Yes, the people that should be at fault is those who organized it and didn't see this coming as they should have. But the people that made it happen are also at fault. So, I saw a lot of people online and tittering on, I don't condone violence, but I understand where Nunes is coming from. Either you condone it or you don't. Don't titter around the truth. Just say how it is. I don't condone either one of the behaviors. So, look, I talked to a lot of people, and I see some videos that I can't even show because the person said, yeah, I don't want that out there. But I saw videos where there was some taunting from, Uruguayan individuals in that section. The first punch I saw be thrown was by an Uruguayan fan. So when you're making these accusations about just blaming the Colombian fans and that Nunes is a victim, and you put a shot of him holding his kid crying, when the reality of it is that his family, Nunes' family, was on the pitch already safe when he decided to storm the stands, very runner test like, and that's a decision that he made. So everybody's at fault. Let's not victimize. Let's not put Nunes and the rest of the players as victims, because that's not the reality. Now, I'm not going to sit here and confirm and tell you I know for sure it was Uruguayans' fault or Colombians' fault. I don't know. They're CONMEBOL just put out a statement. There's an investigation. Let's see what happens. But from my standpoint, and talking to people that were there, and using my rationale, I believe that, and this is quote what somebody told me that was in that area. He said, look, entitled, frustrated player family members, and I don't know if you've kind of had any chance to deal with some of the superstar families. Sometimes there is a level of entitlement. I mean, I could believe that. I could see that. And being frustrated with how the game played out, because Uruguay was on top of Colombia. That game goes another 15 minutes, they probably tie it. So there's frustration, there's anger. So for you to tell me that you know for sure that one party was at fault and the other wasn't, that's where I have my issues with it. Let things settle. Let's figure out what really happened. But I know for a fact it wasn't just Colombian fans that started this whole thing. So individuals, both parties are at fault, but the players, they have to be raised to a whole different level. And look, if you want to paint Nunes as a victim and as a hero that went and dragged family members from those areas, that never happened. There is literally zero video of Nunes pulling anybody or helping anybody. What he did, he stormed. He started swinging on fans. He was squaring up like this was UFC battle against other fans. You see fans putting their hands out like, hey, man, relax. So, again, let's let this go through, but let's not start to take sides or make judgment calls that we don't have enough proof for, because that just gets me upset. It seems like you're trying to put your name out there and get all this to your benefit and create a negative or a wrong narrative that's not actual. That's not factual, and it's that simple.
All right, so we'll put a bookmark in that, because we got to go cliffhanger here before the end of Friday morning. And as the investigation continues to grow, we'll keep taking looks at what's going on there.
And but yes, a rude awakening for everybody that is going to be handling the World Cup. It needs to be better. Security needs to be better. Logistics needs to be better. Not enough police force or security. I mean, I went to a CCL game in Mexico that had more security and police force shown than there was at this game. So things got to change, and it is a rude awakening for everybody that's going to be involved in the World Cup, and they should be better for it.
All right, 3 games I want to talk to you about, and we'll kind of go. We'll do cliffhanger with these. I'll finish up with Atlanta and Montreal. That'll be the last one. Seattle's on the road Saturday night at Austin. Juice boxes have Seattle as a slight underdog at a +168. Austin is a +150. What do you think?
That's a tough one, man. It really is. Just because you don't know what you're going to get out of either team. I understand that Seattle's on the road and everybody's happy, everybody's excited. It all feels like it's rainbows and sunshine. But there's still a lot to be proven. This team has taken on some teams that maybe are not contenders, or definitely are not contenders. And there's still a lot to be worked there. We'll see what happens with Leo Chu in this one. Brian Spencer said that he's traveling with the team. Austin, their last game, they ended up getting a win over New York City FC. I think that there are some things working there that maybe I didn't see as a fruition of this team. A couple of them is the fact that Heather O'Brien has been lights out. Rusi's been really, really good defensively. They've done better. They've been able to keep a lot of bodies behind the ball. So I think this could be a game that might be a draw. Actually, what's the draw on this one?
Draw on this one is +246.
Yeah, give me the draw all day, every day. I think that's what it's going to be. Can Seattle go out there and win it? Sure. But I feel like in Austin, with a team that just played on Tuesday at Sacramento Republic with a pretty first choice lineup, there might be a little bit of exhaustion level. They came, they did one training here, and then they traveled this morning. So there might be something to work on there. Maybe Raul starts this one. There might be some shifting going on for this particular game. So I think a draw is pretty safe bet.
Match of the weekend is probably LAFC hosting Crew. Crew, by the way, on the road at LAFC is a +269.
Hold up. Say it again for me.
Crew at LAFC +269.
Ooh, lock me up, baby. Lock me up.
Draws a +300.
Ooh, that's good too, man. But I don't see Columbus drawing, man. I really don't. I think that they're going to see this as a statement. And as much as I like LAFC and what they've been doing, and they've been very efficient, especially playing without a lot of possession, they're well rested because of the suspended game. So it might be a really good matchup. But I think LAFC is not going to bunker down. LAFC is not going to make it hard for LAFC to play. And they actually, I don't know if they have the tools to do that. So it's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a big game. I see Columbus coming up on top on this one. What's the over/under on goals on that?
Let's check our total and see where things lie. And obviously, the last match I want to talk to you about is Atlanta United going to Montreal. +2.5 is a -190. 3.5 is a +131.
I don't know if I get enough on that, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't think it'll go more than 3.5, to be honest. Maybe you get that, but I don't love it. So, yeah, just give me Columbus. Uh, if you want to, fill another little bit extra juice boxes on that 3.5, I'm good with it. I wouldn't go beyond that. But I think this was going to be an open-ended game. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be start fill, and I think both teams see this as a statement win. So they're going to go all out, baby. This is going to be absolutely the game of the weekend. I'm going to make sure that I got my chips, my Modelo, and maybe a little nachos going on. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be watching.
Then the last one I want to discuss with you is Atlanta going to Montreal. Atlanta's a plus 175. CF Montreal at home is a plus 138. But it was mentioned in a conversation that Garth Lagerwey had with Doug Robertson of the AJC that Garth now, he has laid out his plan for the 2 designated player spots and the future. And he says, we're going to be responsible, going to be rational, going to make good investments and good choices. He says let me see if I can. All right. So here's how he says. We would prefer to have a player here for a longer period of time who's here because they're playing on an elite level and they want to be in Atlanta. They want to be playing in front of 47,000 people every week and are part of Atlanta United and are here because they live, breathe, sleep, die for Atlanta United. He wants to sign prime age players and do that going forward, targeting prime age players from top 5 leagues in Europe to fill the vacant 2 DP slots. So that's what Garth is looking for as a part of the players and with the windfall that they have currently to help the 2 DP spots getting filled.
Hey, and that's Garth Lagerwood mentality, and that's I probably quoted half of what you said when I told you that when we found out that he was going to Atlanta, because that's what he does. He wants players that, just like Raul Ruiz and Nicolás Odero did with the Seattle Sounders, is their priority is not a stepping stool or looking forward to being trampoline into Europe or anything like that. They're going to come in. They're going to write the history of this club. They're going to be successful. They're going to breathe and sleep and everything Atlanta, just like these guys did for Seattle. And I think Atlanta's going to be better for it. You got the money that you needed, or that maybe you're getting back for Almada. You got a deal that you would never get for Giacomakis, and that's why you took it. And now you made some of those changes. You got an open canvas. It's time for Garth Lagerwey to put his little Rick Ross fro and go to work. And I believe it, baby. I mean, call me crazy. If I'm starting a team anywhere and I have money, infinite money, I'm getting Garth Lagerwey to handle my team. So I think that he's going to do that. I'm sure that doubters are starting to emerge in Atlanta when it comes to Garth. But believe me, man, trust the process. And I get that I probably don't have a lot of you guys' trust because of the Gonzalo Pineda thing, but Garth Lagerwey, he's a different type of dude. He's been there, done that. He's proven in all kinds of ways. So I like it, and I think they're going to be better off for it. When it comes to this game, Montreal and Atlanta, I see a draw. I'm not buying any more Montreal stock, but I'm not getting rid of all of it. I'm keeping a few just in case they make the playoffs. So I like some of the things that they're doing. They're getting some players back. Cocaro's back. Martinez, he's been in some sort of form. I like that 3-man lineup most times, not all the time. That midfield has a lot of athleticism, and I think that they could give Atlanta some issues. So I think it'll be a draw.
And as always, my friend, it's great to catch up with you at El Rolo NW and at Sports Pulso and at the Soccer Bar. As always, great to catch up with you, my friend. Thanks for leading us off on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll catch up with you again next week.
Thank you. Love you, SDH family. I would have stopped that plane, by the way. I just couldn't, but SDH, man, love y'all.